Congressman McCaul promised to join us around 8:45, and sure enough, he's on the line. I said I've been promising to talk about Nolan Ryan all morning too. Plenty of time to do that, but we are lucky enough to have him right on time. Congressman McCaul, good morning.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate your kind words.
Oh, hey, listen, we were just got running a little long, remembering the life of Bum Phillips. And, who wasn't a Bum Phillips fan, huh?
Yeah. He was a great guy.
Absolutely. Hey, Congressman, and I should say actually Mr. Chairman, because that's the right way to address you. You've distinguished us as our representative by also becoming now for quite some time the chairman of Homeland Security, which has you on the news a lot and very busy.
Yeah, it's there's always something going on all over the world. I look at the threats everywhere and make sure that those threats stay outside of the United States as best I can. We had Boston, of course. We talked a lot about Syria and what's going on over there. I didn't think we should be militarily involved in Syria. And, you know, the rebel forces are 50% Al-Qaeda. I don't know why we should be supporting that. Spending more money.
A lot of folks are trying to figure that one out. By the way, Congressman, typically here on a Monday, long story, didn't sleep last night. I got a laundry list of excuses if you've got a minute. But I meant to also introduce who's on the line with us, which is a famous weatherman and a guy with a few political opinions, Troy Kimmel.
Good morning, Congressman.
Hey, good morning.
How you doing, buddy?
And the legendary Sammy Allred is here because it's a Sam and Bob Monday. I know you remember him.
Hey, Sam.
Hey.
You know, I've never told you this, so I might as well just tell you on the air. Though we talked from time to time when we were at the old radio station, we never really, when you were at the, in the middle of something, we didn't call you up very much. Let me tell you why. You are married to the daughter of the man who used to own Clear Channel. And
that's a well-kept secret.
Yeah, I know, but that's exactly right. Every time we put you on, Congressman, everybody comes and say, Clear Channel's making you say that. Clear Channel's got you programmed and all that. So it probably wasn't fair to you, and I apologize, but, we just didn't want people saying, we put Congressman McCaul on because the dang... But now that we don't have anything to do with Clear Channel, and by the way, neither do you anymore.
Yeah, I was going to point that out as
well. None of us do anymore. It's great to just be able to talk to you without anybody pointing a finger.
I don't like that. And, of course, my in-laws sold the company, so there's no issue there.
Yeah.
But I respect the integrity in the process. I do. Yeah,
but it leads me to something that I get to ask a lot of guys gentlemen in your position, which is, how do you do anything anymore that isn't totally second-guessed, especially in this environment of gotcha? Everybody's waiting now for somebody to screw up or to try to spin something minor as a major screw-up so that it can be hung on the Republican Party or vice versa, hung on the Democratic Party. The environment really seems to me to be beyond not healthy. It seems to be like almost, why would you even want to do this?
Well, and people ask me that a lot. They say, look, you could have a life outside of Congress, and I agree, but public service is important to me.
Weren't you a DA?
I was in the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yeah, that's right.
Counterterrorism. I was in public integrity section in Washington, public corruption cases. And so there are a lot of things I could do other than this, but I think serving public service is still a noble profession.
It is honorable, no question.
Yeah. And you're right. Outside groups criticize you, and sometimes I think we forget who the enemy is. I think we need to be focused more on Democrats than ourselves. Going after Republicans, and so I've fought the good fight for 5 terms now. I voted against the bailout. I took a stand against earmarks. I voted against the latest debacle, which basically raised the debt ceiling once again, and it's $17 trillion now over this weekend.
Congressman Troy Kimmel here. That's my question, because I know you're in your 5th term now, and you're up there in the middle of it, sort of, but I think from outside I see this so dysfunctional up there, and I love how you say you're in this for the public service. And are we ever going to get back to the point where you think this dysfunction is good? It's just hard to even look at nowadays. Yeah. What's your feeling on that right now?
Well, it's divided government. The American people elected this, so we don't have the White House, we don't have the Senate, we got the House, and so you can't get everything you want. I mean, I think people have this unrealistic expectation we can get everything we want as conservatives. Yeah. The bottom line is we only control the House, so it's unrealistic to think that we can get 100% of anything.
Well, that's what
Reagan talked a lot about that too. I'd rather get 80% than run off the cliff with
right.
My
Well,
flag.
that doesn't seem to be the attitude now.
It is, and I think it's not wise. I think we need to. But again, it's this divided government concept. I'm very concerned, not only about the homeland security issues, but also the $17 trillion in debt now. And what's happened up there is we once again raised the debt ceiling. I voted against it, but we gave the president a blank check until January. And what my concern is we're squeezing so much discretionary spending, which is military, intelligence, homeland security, national security things, to the point where it cannot sustain itself. That's the number one goal under the Constitution. 3/4 of the other budget pie are this mandatory spending, they call it, entitlements. If we can't get control over that type of spending, it is unsustainable, and that's why we hit $17 trillion this weekend.
Well, Congressman, we're not talking about our children's debt anymore. We're talking about our grandchildren's debt. I mean, this is what we're talking about at this stage, and I guess it's just interesting to look at. I'm sort of the same way. I think you kind of stated it this way. Is I tell people now, hey, you got what we voted for now. Apparently, and so I'm just hoping we can get back to where we have more people.
Add on, Obamacare is the newest entitlement, right? And so, what I was curious. I introduced the bill to. They exempted members of Congress and the president as political appointees. This is the height of hypocrisy in Washington.
You didn't introduce that bill. You introduced a bill to undo that.
Yeah, and it was an amendment that actually passed the House.
Right.
And it went to the Senate and died in the Senate. Now, Vitter had the amendment in the Senate side, but again, just this sort of hypocrisy up there. And you know what? Where's the President of the United States signing up for his own health care law?
Oh, that's not happening.
I mean, you would think you'd have a Rose Garden ceremony on the first day it rolled out saying, I'm going to be the first customer to sign up for this law. It's so great for the American people. It's good enough for me, but he didn't do that.
Mike, where are we? I love to ask you this, kind of get your gut feel on it, but where are we 2 years from now with Obamacare, do you think?
Well, my wife, Linda, is probably smarter than I am, and she said, you know what, let it roll out. Let the American people see how bad this thing is, and then they will make a difference in the next election.
Well, and when you say bad, the evidence already is that the expense of it will not only dictate that for many folks it's not affordable, but the benefits, if you will, the folks are going to see over a couple of years that the way it is structured, it just cannot work. I mean, and that's not a Republican talking here and with a Republican congressman on the line. We're talking about some major folks that from the unions to Warren Buffett, saying, look, this doesn't work. We've got to start over. Yet the insistence seems to be, no, we've got it. We're going to do it. We'll fix it later. Or do you think it's just the mechanism was really the goal at the end of the day? Not the program, the mechanism.
I think, from their point of view, is the fulfillment of the New Deal, the last step. And, but the problem is it's not working. And to have the government force you to buy a product you don't want to buy, and if you don't buy it on a failed website, they'll tax you. I mean, that to me, that's just, that's the worst. That's not what people want of their government. And I don't think it's on the right trajectory. It's not working. He said you can keep your premium or keep your insurance plan, and your premiums will go down. What we're finding is people are having to drop their current insurance plans and go on the exchanges, and it's more expensive. So it's not playing out the way he thought, and it's all conditioned on young people going into these exchanges, which they're not.
Well, Congressman, I got to wonder if it is playing exactly how he thought. You say that, but I got to wonder if it's playing exactly the way.
As we all know, and Congressman, we've taken far more of your time than I suspect you allotted, but for it to work, the money has got to come from the younger population that typically doesn't insure. And, the first couple of weeks' evidence, and maybe it was the glitched website, the confusion, but according to the Sunday talk shows, the number of first couple of weeks sign-up here, week and a half, whatever it's been, is somewhere between 30 and 60,000 Americans have signed up. Yet, when it comes to younger Americans, some obscene number like 27 million Americans have signed up to be in the Miley Cyrus fan club. That's a fact. That's a fact. They had to go to the same amount of trouble, basically. And I really wonder, we're Americans. If this thing ain't going to work, we'll fix it. We're going to figure this out at some point. Just obviously could not be figured out right now. But, man, it does look bleak in terms of us as Americans getting interested, particularly a younger population that has to fund this thing that ain't interested in it at all.
Well, they're not. I remember back in the day when I was 25 and I felt healthy, and I didn't think I needed health insurance back then. But it's sort of premised on that plan. And the other thing that's insulting to me is he has exempted this mandate. He delayed it for 1 year on major businesses, big businesses, corporations, unions, special exemptions for Congress and the executive branch. And yet he's not going to delay that 1 year on the American people. And I think that's the saddest thing of the whole deal.
And also a small, you talk about the American people, it's small business where it really makes, where it can make a big difference as well.
Well, exactly. So how's this thing going to work if you're exempting everybody and playing favorites, and then the average American out there is just trying to survive every day?
Mom and pop business, the engine that allegedly drives the economy, at least dollar-wise it does. We don't get accepted. And that's really, I guess, all the Republicans were asking, but it was so muddy. I got to tell you, I'm a junkie. I watch C-SPAN. I'm such a weird piece of fruitcake.
Well, I kind of live it. So.
You star on C-SPAN. That's worse, isn't it? But I'm a groupie, and that's probably worse, actually. And the truth is, I lost interest in the last week. The day that it finally was solved, I didn't even care anymore, and I'm interested. So, guys like our buddy Eric Rains up here, who produces the program, he's sort of the canary in the coal mine for me. If something interests him, then I figure politically, it's got a chance of it resonating with the average American. But he lost interest 2 weeks before I did, and so that just looked like it was lost. And that's my final question.
Well, I saw the ugly process when it got passed, when Pelosi was Speaker of the House, we were in the minority, using earmarks to bribe members on the floor for their votes, and now you're seeing